Good morning, good afternoon to you. Jeff Africa, Jeff's Last Dance, the channel where we're making it from the head, falling to the heart, opening up that heart chakra, living each and every eternal now moment through the heart resonance. See, that's where the magic is. For me, magic is coming to the fore a lot. I want my life, and we should all want our lives to have an element of magic. Okay, that's one of the tells that we're coming alive and getting out of the mundane consciousness, the zero-sum consciousness, neither good nor bad, but it's zero-sum, it's uninspired. And as we move toward each and every moment as a magical moment, you see, that's possible, and that's where I'm headed. And take heed, hearken. And no one is listening to this stuff, okay? Let's just be honest. But this is, like I say, a preliminary effort of me getting out there. You know, I've led a life of solitude, trying to manage what the hell went wrong, and I am coming out of the shell now. So this was my first attempt, but it isn't really working very well. But we'll continue doing it. But I got to come up with a variation on this and see if we can get more people listening. But you know, I'm having a lot of fun doing it, and that's almost as good enough for me in a way. Sometimes you get so many people listening, then all of a sudden you have to worry about, you know, I don't know. Just something to think about. Now look at what this whole thing has been, this whole movement of mine and this channel has been. Now listen, this is good. It's been my own tailor-made process to, number one, get me to a new form of consciousness. Number two, to get me ascending with Earth to the fifth dimension. Okay, this is what this is all about. It's my own tailor-made rituals, really, you could say, and new habits and tendencies and techniques that are assisting me cleaning myself out and getting myself ready and forming a new consciousness, a new love-based unity consciousness that can be established through the heart and get me ascending with Earth. That's what the most important thing here on Earth right now is. We all have to start thinking about how we can, we're going to have to do a little bit of work of getting ourselves ascending into love-based unity consciousness and the fifth dimension. That's where Earth is going right now as we speak. Okay, I know a lot about what's really going on Earth, and I'll tell sometime exactly what I know, because we're living in an amazing, miraculous time. So that is what this is, and what I'm saying, and what I've always said is, you don't have to do the things I'm doing. Okay, but make your own. I'm gifted at this. You know, I'm good at this. If you've listened to my videos, you know that I'm good at this. It's one of my skills, one of my gifts. A lot of you aren't maybe quite as good, but you have to develop your own method of starting to raise your vibrational frequency. Okay, and get out of that old self. And birth yourself into a brand new reality and a brand new self. Okay? Some people would say no self, and that's true also. But that's what this channel really is all about. It's my own blog of what I've been doing all along to continue to grow and expand and spiritually deepen myself to make it to the fifth dimension. All right, and I'm intended on going there. That's the pick. Okay, there's nothing wrong with deciding you don't want to hassle it and you want to stay in the third dimensional realities, and there's going to be a way to do that. But for me, I'm going to the fifth dimension, and that's my decision. And you guys make your own decision on that. Okay, now my life has been, here we go with this main meat of this thing. My life has been pretty tough. You know, I've explained that to you, Troy. It was a hellhole of an existence. So I haven't had a lot of relationships. a couple live-in girl relationships, a year and a half roughly. They came and they went, and okay, fine. There wasn't too much fanfare about it. Wasn't all crushed when they left, and it was okay. It was okay, but I was still so lost that a relationship didn't make any sense. Okay, it just simply didn't make any sense. But I did have a couple of them, and they were okay. They were fun. I was so much in pain and anxiety and depression and all these things I've been telling you about that they didn't really affect me too much. I thought, gee, about time I've had a couple of relationships, even though they kind of came to me and forced themselves on me. I said, look, I don't recommend this, okay? I'm telling you, turn around and run. But, I just allowed it to happen, basically, and it ended, and okay, it's gone now. Okay, now I'm on my own again. So that's the story there. So when I got my first computer in 2019, my very first computer, I started to learn how to basically use it, and I was way beyond. I had, everybody had computers, what I mean? It's like a 2019, my first computer, what I mean? I was 68 at the time. I don't like computers. I didn't want to get a computer. I wanted to live life without a computer because I don't like electronic gizmos and stuff like that. It never really attracted me. I never really gravitated toward them. The writing was on the wall. I was hoping I was going to have to die before I ever had to finally learn how to use one. But the writing was on the wall. Everything was coming up, computers. You had to have some sort of a computer to do things, basically, So I got one. And I started to watch YouTube. Liked it right away. Liked YouTube right away. What a great idea it was. I thought it's a fantastic idea. It's just a bulletin board for videos, for homemade videos, basically. And so, it's a great idea. We deserve a lot of credit for coming up with something like that. So I started looking at videos. Now, this one video of this girl, an Irish girl, big, beautiful eyes, big, crystalline, beautiful eyes. She's one of the new young ones coming up. Still is. Crystal Bean, Crystal Kids, Indigo Kids, Rainbow Kids, all these different kids coming in right now to help us all with the ascension process. They have a lot to teach us. They're not burdened down by karma the way we have been. I was one of the first ones, actually. I'm something, I'm just a cosmic messenger essentially, but then they came, and they're all here to help us and to teach us, really. So we have to, when we have one as a child, we have to, give them wide girth and how they want to behave and learn from them, not be afraid to learn from them when we can and when it's appropriate, because there are going to be things they're going to be teaching us. I came across this Irish girl, gorgeous. As beautiful as any woman I've ever seen, with these big crystalline eyes. Eyes are my favorite thing on a woman. They've always been number one. Anybody that asks me, Jeff, what's your favorite attribute on a woman? They would think a nice rack, nice butt, but it's eyes. It was always eyes first for me. Okay, that's what I like. That's what I notice about women first, is their eyes, their legs second, and their walk third. Okay. The way they walk. There's a lot of information in the way a woman walks, and I love a nice pair of legs. Okay, but eyes. Number one was eyes. So she had these beautiful eyes, and she was doing videos, and she's smart, very, very smart, very advanced in her ways and means of knowing the new ways of thinking and coming and getting out of the old matrix of ideas that we're all going to have to graduate from, and I fell in love with her. I mean, she was just beautiful, and I go, this is the one. this is the woman I've been waiting for. Those are the pair of eyes I've waited all my whole life to find and see. So I said, you know, I got to make a play for her. You know, I listened to, I would wait for her videos to come up. I subscribed to her channel, wait for her videos, you know, and I always was curious and wanting to hear what she had to say. So she offered sessions, you know, that she would work with you. She was working with this being, this group of beings, the nameless ones she called them, and she would give sessions and have them come in and help whoever she was giving the session to. So I go, all right, I got to get to know her. So I planned for, I got a session with her, scheduled a couple weeks away, as an introduction to myself to her, and I hadn't said too much. I commented a lot on her videos. She was getting to know me in a way, and she. So I set up. Said I want to do a session. So we set up a session, and we had a few back and forth. And she seemed to be being a little bit difficult about things, and so I kind of basically did I kind of behaved in a way that would be like I poked her, you know, like, hey, just to see what was there. You know how you poke something, an animal, like when you poke, just to see what's there, see what they're at, where they're at. So So what I did. And the session was scheduled for 2 weeks away. It was a 2-week wait to see her. So the 2 weeks came around, and I didn't hear hide nor hair from her, you know. So I wrote her on her website, you know, hey, you know, I haven't. It's been 2 weeks. Haven't heard from me. Is there something up? And then within a week, there was a video that she had done, and she declared that she had been hassled by stalkers. She was. She didn't name me by name, but she had concluded that I was stalking her by just kind of joking and poking at her and just kind of seeing what she would do. You know, it was my way to test women, basically. You know, that's how I do things sometimes. You can learn a lot about a woman by doing just something outrageous and see how she handles it. You're never going to learn much about a woman sitting down, having tea with a box of chocolates, being all nice, okay? You can talk to her for 100 years and you're not going to learn too much about her. What I found is that one of the best ways, most reliable ways to learn about a woman is to just do something outrageous, unexpected, and see how she handles it, okay? That's going to tell you a lot of information about that woman if you're keen on observing and alert, which I am, about personalities and how they function and how they behave. So there she was. I'm listening to the video. She goes, and by the way, you know, I haven't spoken about this, but I have stalkers after me now, you know. She meant me. She didn't have any stalkers. It was just me. And she concluded by my behavior, just by kind of goofing with her a little bit, that I was a stalker. You know, and there is no line you can draw from what I did to her conclusion that I was a stalker. You know what I mean? I was shocked. I was flabbergasted. You know, and I wrote her on that video. She did. What are you talking about? Are you talking about me? You know, and you know, the normal stuff a guy would say. Are you out of your mind? You know, I'm out of here. You know. But I, you know, I was shocked that she would conclude that out of what I did, which is just being a little bit playful. Now, as I thought about it subsequently, I know why she concluded that I was a stalker. She concluded I was a stalker because she stalked me. Because I had just gotten my first computer. And I wasn't on any, and I know I'm not on any of them now. I don't care about social sites and Facebooks and Instagram. So she probably looked all around so she'd get a view of me and see who I was. And I was nowhere to be found. I mean, nowhere, like I said. And so she concluded I was a man in the shadows. And then she concluded that I must be a stalker because she couldn't find me anywhere. That's why she concluded I was a stalker. I know this for a fact. My first reaction was to say, are you crazy? I'm out of here. But I couldn't walk away. I had to play this out. I had to make a play for her and continue on with this because I said, look it. She's like off a rocker. She's about 12% off a rocker to do what she did, okay? And it was, women are kind of off their rocker a lot. Especially she was extremely feminine woman. Blonde hair and just as gorgeous as it gets. You're going to get a little bit of craziness when that happens. So that, it was just mind-boggling that she came up with that, and I couldn't just walk away. I just couldn't walk away from it. I go, I have to play this out further. This is something I've waited for to do my whole life to know, because I never was struck with a surety that. The way I was struck with the surety with her that I wanted to spend time with this woman. Hell, I have a $700,000 house I was half interested in. I was going to cash out my $300,000, take it to Dublin. She lives in Dublin, Ireland, and move in with her right away. Now that sounds nutty, but I know it would have worked out. But it does sound nutty. You know what I mean? So I admit that. That's why she concluded I was a stalker. Now, plus she was 40 and I was 68 at the time. I'm 28 years older than she was. But she's so wise in her ways and so mature in certain ways, there wasn't a year between us. There really wasn't. And in some instances, in discussing certain subjects, she was smarter and more mature than I was in certain ways. I felt like a big boy, a 72-year-old boy. That's really what it feels like to me. It was. I couldn't just walk away from that. I didn't never let her know. Although she knew, if she I get the feeling she knew that I was 28 years older, and so that means when I was 45, she was 17. Like shit. But when you get older, the age isn't quite as different, or is that dramatic. Or like I say, there wasn't a year between us. I swear to God, we were all we seemed like about the same age. So her accusing me of a stalker, I wanted to say, look, I'm not a stalker. I'm a perv, okay, but I'm not a stalker. So she had that wrong. See, I'm actually a perv. So I concluded that, look, I am going to keep writing this woman and get her head straight and make sure she understands I'm not a stalker. I'm one of the best guys you're ever going to come across, and I have felt a need to make her understand that fact, okay? And I said the only way to do that, and I'm a good writer, the only way to do that is to write her. Start writing her stuff. And let her know, let her conclude that you're not a crazy stalker, okay? So that was my plan, and I had to make a play, and I did. I mean, she was never hit on so well, and so in such a skilled fashion as I hit on her. Okay, she never, her whole life, I know that she was not. In the whole range of issues that I was discussing with her, because we're alike in the fact that we're attuned to the cosmos. We're attuned to something bigger than the material world of this Earth plane, 3D Earth plane. Okay, we're from somewhere else and assisting humanity to pull themselves up out of this dense selfish, materialistic 3D world, ego-dominated 3D world, into something better. So in that sense, we were compatible. But it was, I just had to keep trying to get her on board with my idea. She wasn't with anybody at the time. She had lost somebody who she took extremely hard, 4 or 5 year bitterness trip about it. And I don't know that she was with anybody at that time. But she had boyfriends, she had boyfriends. So anyway, so I kept pressing on her. Let me see. I think I may want to end this now because it's going to be a little bit longer and I want to get to a point. But I had to follow through. I didn't want to cut and run. Okay, that's how I was in love. Okay, I never been in love like that before. So, you have all the things that you have going through your head when you're in love with someone. And I had that with her. You feel a little bit trapped. You don't want to give it up. You identify with it. You get attached to it. And I just want to make sure I exhausted what I had to exhaust before I walked away from her. Okay, let's end this right here. I feel like I want to end this right here because there's still more of the story. So that's where we're at. Okay, at the end of this video, that's where we're at. I'm continuing to hit on this beautiful, beautiful Irish girl, 28 years younger than I am, but not really showing that the age difference at all. She, like I say, she was a smart girl, and that's why I loved her, because of her brains and her sense of what to do, and her sense of wisdom. And she had things that I wasn't used to. Not most of the women I know weren't like her. So this is the middle part. We're going to have an intermission now. The next couple days we're going to finish this. But this is my story of falling in love for the first time in my life, knowing that I was in love, and how I tried to fix the situation so it would work out. Because I know that if we did end up living together for a while, I know it would have worked for at least 3 or 4 years. It would have been a fantastic experience, really, truly. That is the beginning part of my falling in love for the first time in my life, and we're going to finish it in a different video because I don't want this to be too long. I get to be too long. My name is Jeff Africa, citizen of Earth, loyal patriot of the United States of America, a child of God, a beloved child of God. And I have these 4 on my shoulders: Mother Earth, Divine Mother, Paramatma Yogananda, Jesua Ben Joseph, getting me to where I want to be. I want to be a loving, heart-based being of light, blessing all of life on earth as I walk around and interact with anybody I have to interact with, and making their lives a little bit better for having known me, and getting my ego out of the way, and learning how to be helpful and loving to people that I meet, and tender and careful, and seeing the beauty in them, as I can see the beauty in me, the light in me. Okay, so this is going to be it, and we'll finish this in a few days. Bye.